So this video is just to show how to wrap your chipboard cover, because I haven't done one of those just on its own, and then as well just how to attach your pages to your spine or binding, so whatever you want to call it. If you've gotten a kit of mine, usually I ship it with the pages not attached, just because it's easier for you to decorate, so I'll show you that as well. So to wrap the cover, usually you start out by connecting two pieces of paper big enough to fit the whole span of the chipboard pieces. Usually I would actually have a bigger border than this, but I cut this quite a while ago, so actually I'm gonna get rid of this and I'll start fresh. So this is a 6x6. Lots of the ones that I do my kits for 8x8. So I'm just gonna use a 12x12 attached together, just to show you. The process is the same for any size that you do. If you are doing a cover that's like longer, like a 7x9 or something, once you factor in your spine, you're probably gonna need to attach 3 pieces. And when you do that, I typically recommend hiding your seam in your back cover and not your front. So if you're doing a squared album, an 8x8 or a 6x6, I always do this and see which way has the least amount of bend. This way has the least amount of bend, so I want that to be like my, really like my stabilizing piece. You're not gonna handle the book this way, so I always want it harder to bend on the horizontal, I guess. So all of these are needing to be taped down. So I use the silk wing. I always attach my spine first, and this is from, I want to say this album is from my April class maybe. And usually I attach my tape this way, like lengthwise. It doesn't have to be like crazy secure because you're wrapping it anyways. I typically do 5 pieces aside. And then I do have this little ruler. It's just called like a book ruler, a book cover ruler. I'll try to find the link and stick it in the description. You can get it off of Amazon. We Are Makers makes one as well. It really just helps to space out your pieces, and also gives you like the corner diagonal piece, which I'll show you too. If you don't have one, 1/8 of an inch is kind of like the magic number. So spacing your cover with a regular ruler from your spine, and then just making sure it's at least 1/8 of an inch, because it doesn't need that space to move. So everything's taped up here. I always want at least 1 inch, I would say, from the edge of my actual chipboard to give a good strong wrap, get enough adhesion. So I'm just gonna take and mark just roughly with a pencil. You're not gonna see this anyways because it's gonna get wrapped under, but it's just for me. I like, 1 inch around kind of thing. So I'm gonna attach my spine first. And this chipboard that I'm using is the Graphics chipboard. It's actually become really expensive and pretty hard to find in Canada. So I'm gonna try out a different brand tomorrow. Probably gonna have to make the switch, which I don't want to do, but I will have to do, I think, at this point. So now that I have that attached, again, if you don't have the book ruler, take your ruler and just make a line 1/8 of an inch from that piece, and that's where you want your next cover piece. Now, I have the ruler, so I'm gonna use it, but I just want you to know, if you don't have it, that's the process. There's a million different brands. Like, there's a plastic one as well. The only reason I didn't get the We Are Makers one is honestly because I felt like it was pretty overpriced for what it was. I know it comes with some other stuff, but I really don't ever feel I have a need for any of the other stuff that it comes with. So this one's perfect. It's sort of just all in one. So I stick it on my spine, just like this. And then I place my other piece and just butt it right up against. And that helps keep it level at the top. And it also keeps it kind of evenly spaced between the two. So that's how I do that. It's really not that hard. I would say probably like the hardest part of wrapping the cover is the corners, I guess, or like getting them smooth. And for a long time I would basically try to like fold them under, but it always adds so much bulk. So I do have a different way that I do my corners than a lot of people, and it works for me. I like it, so that's how I do it. But a lot of people do just kind of smush the corners in. So when we talk about the corners, we're going to use that. Now quickly, I'm just going to make a little pencil mark for myself because I only want about an inch on either side of this. I don't need more. And so we'll trim this down after we make our corner marks. And again, like, it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly straight. So I almost always cut this with my scissors because it's getting hidden underneath your pieces that then cover up your cover. So don't worry if your edges and stuff aren't perfectly straight. So this corner piece just fits right over the corner, and then I draw my line, and now I cut it. So when I cut it this way. And this is, you know, really a quick thing, in my opinion, although I did just like prep up a million, or what felt like a million album covers. So I am pretty quick, I think, at it, but you can be with practice, or take your time. I mean, it doesn't need to take forever. For sure, the first couple times you do it, it'll just feel like it does take a little while. So that's how I want it to look. From here, I need a bone folder and my double-sided tape. I do not use liquid adhesive on my spine wrapping, cover wrapping. I have, and I did used to, but nothing really quite compares to the sequin. So this is kind of what I stick with. So I use 2 pieces usually. That piece stuck to my finger. Stay off. 2 pieces in my cover, just kind of side by side like that, so that I don't have any sort of lifting and that I know it's kind of secured the whole way. I'm excited to get this album wrapped and put together. It's kind of just been sitting partially finished. It's been really busy with the classes and the album kits and stuff just personally, so it's just been sitting, and I'm not usually like a projects half done person. I almost always finish my projects, so I have a lot. I signed up for the Weekender, and then I went and got tattooed and missed it. So I barely touched that. I have made like a couple of things, but yeah, I just am frantically behind on my crafting, which doesn't really matter to anyone except for me, I guess. And then this weekend I'll be recording the June album class and getting it uploaded. So if you did get your June album kit, obviously you're probably watching this video to wrap your cover. And then you're gonna move through the playlist to see how the pages will go. And that's a fun one. I think I finally decided on what collection I'm gonna use for my one that I make with you. So yeah, that'll be fun. I was kind of waiting and thinking, oh, maybe I would hold out for a new collection, but I need to get them done, so I'm gonna use not an old one, but one that's been out for a while. So obviously I've put all my tape on, I've trimmed kind of the excess, and now what I want to do is I want to fold this over the cover. So I always start by just putting my hand underneath and I push. And I'm just doing this so that it's not a shock necessarily to the paper when I fold it over. And then I start from the center and I pull and I work my way usually to the left because that's my dominant hand, but it doesn't matter which way you go, and then back to the right. If you do have any crinkles or wrinkles, always give it kind of a good push down. So I do the long sides first, and I'll show you why, but it's probably, you know, can be done the other way, but I just feel like it works better for me. And then I can cut my corners and get them on. So again, we're gonna lift, put our hand underneath, and then pull down. If you don't pull down, you just might end up with like some excess space. So that's why I do the pulling. And then I do have like a little bubble there. That's gonna be covered up for me, so I'm not really worried about it. I'll just try to push it down. For in here, I give this a good burnish. I want to create that one so I can see where I'm gonna now attach my spine once I folded my other edges. And two, it makes it easier to fold it up once we're done. So you can see there is like some overhang here basically. So we want to get rid of that because we want to fold this up, but we don't want the bulk there. So I'm going to try and do this so you can see. I cut like that. I flip it over. And then I kind of just like round it out. And that gets rid of that little nub. So now we're gonna have a nice corner. The cat's on the desk, so I apologize in advance if he walks over here. He might not. He's usually not allowed on the table. But he's on the table anyways. Yep, here he comes. So he's checking things out. Mochi, you have to get down. Come on. He would just pick that time to do that, of course. And then just like that. So then I pull the tape backing off of this piece. And now without that chunk in there, I can just fold it up and push it over. Sometimes you'll end up with like a little bit of a point. So when I do, I kind of just like very carefully give it a little haircut there. my corners of my albums are rarely perfect. And they make these like great things. I don't know if I have them easily accessible, but they're little corner covers. And so you can get them and pinch them onto your albums and cover the corners. If you're new to my classes, you won't have seen me use them, but you've probably seen them. But if you've done my classes before, you've definitely seen them because I've showed them before. So we've got that. That side's good. So, and then you have your spine. If it's not wrapped, most of your covers are wrapped anyways, but if it's not, you'll have your spine put together, and then we want double-sided tape on here. You can put the double-sided tape on once it's attached, which is what I will do, just because it doesn't matter. I can flatten my spine out. So to attach my spine, I'm just gonna obviously put my suckling on there. And again, I kind of just throw it on. And then I trim the excess if I need to. I'm not worried about a little bit being cut off and wasted. I definitely do my best not to waste a ton of it. And this, I would say, like your cover and this piece specifically, probably use like the most amount of your sequin if you had to pick like one piece, which can be frustrating. I do feel like it is still one of the products that's pretty affordable. Hopefully we will not see them like jack up the prices, but you never know. I do sometimes find it's like harder to find some of the sizes of it, I guess, depending on where you're looking. Right now I'm buying mine off of Amazon, mostly just because it comes quickly and I go through it a lot. And I do find it's pretty cheap there. Like you can get 3 rolls for $20, so you know, it's quick and easy for me. I'm not super far from craft stores, but I'm, you know, far enough that I can just run and pick it up locally if I'm out. And sometimes the smaller stores take a little while to get it shipped, so if I need it, I need it. And I don't usually like to sub suckling for liquid, just because if I'm using suckling, I'm using it for, you know, a really secure bond. So I'm lining the spine up kind of center, or I'm lining my like binding up center to the spine and making sure it's kind of level on both sides. And then I'm gonna push it down. I want that good connection, and I even do it in here because I want it really, you know, tied down. People are going to be interacting with your albums. You want them to stay in place. You want them to be able to, you know, manhandle a page out or something. So now, obviously, I would cover these, but I'm just going to show you page connection, and then I'll cover them on my own time. So I take my piece of suckling. I always angle my binding, and that is so that my page fits over and also has a stopping point, because I don't want it to come all the way down, because then it rubs or it gets distressed or whatever. So I do like it a little further up. This is a deeper binding just because these pages are interactive, so I did decide to make it a little deeper so it has more connection to it. But typically you would have, you know, about 1/4 of an inch to attach your suckling to. So again, just trimming that. And then all of my pages, because it's just the way that I prefer to do it, are pocket pages. So when I say pocket pages, there's literally a pocket in every single one, which means you could also then create additional pages and slide them inside. So in this case, obviously you want to make sure you have your page in the proper orientation. So for me, I do, and I always say put your fingers in the sides, and then I'm gonna attach this. So this would be my first page. I'm gonna attach it on this side. So what I like to do actually is, this will be maybe kind of hard to show, but I'm gonna slip it in the pocket, and then I usually will lay it down. And I lay it down because I've not taken my tape backing off yet. So I'm gonna do that with it slipped over so that I get a nice connection. So I'm in here with my pokey tool. And I am getting that good connection, and I am pushing down. And then you end up, you know, with a pretty straight page. Obviously nothing's perfect. This one a little cattywampus, but I'm fine with it. So I've connected that. Now this side is still not connected. You can see my tape backing in there, but now we know, okay, that one's correctly connected. We're gonna just pull the tape backing off of this and push it down. So it's really, really easy in my opinion, which is part of why I choose this type of album page, because it's so simple to attach. There's not a bunch of like measuring and mucking about. It's really just kind of like decorate the pages and pop them on. So I'll show you one more, just because sometimes it's easier if you can see it twice. Really, I'm gonna attach them anyway, so why not? And then yeah, hopefully that's helpful for you to attach your pages. I know if you have the Flaptastic Journey, those are pocket pages. So I have experimented a little bit with non-pocket, but my brain just is like, it's so easy. It makes the most sense to me, so that's kind of why I always do them. So again, here's another page, a pocket. This also helps, I think, like with orientation too, is like remembering, okay, this is the side, so you don't kind of get mixed up. So again, I'm gonna slip that inside. You're gonna see the little Sookwang label disappear. And it's gonna stop where the angle stops. And then I'm going to pull the tape backing off, and I'm just gonna push it down. And same thing here. Now that that's secured, I'm just popping that tool in there. Piece of red thread or something, and I'm pushing down. So really, really easy. In my opinion, can't get easier than that. Again, you know, there's no measuring, there's no mucking about, it's just in. So that is cover wrapping and attaching your pages. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to link that book tool in the description. Thanks.